Good morning and welcome to Autism Mama Bear Talk. Today we have a very special guest with us, Guzin Kurun, who is the writer, creator, executive producer, director of the new, excellent, hilarious show about low functioning autism or the real autism, surprisingly complicated. So, Guzin, welcome to my show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. I am so excited to introduce your show to our audience because, as you know, my audience consists of not only uh, adults or people with autism spectrum disorder, but also parents of autistic kids.
Right.
So they are always asking me, what
Yeah.
about the nonverbal? What about the lower functioning? You know, our kids are not like all those amazing guests that you invite to your show. My son or my daughter doesn't have Asperger's. You know, they
Right.
don't talk. They
Right.
do really awkward things. They put candy all over themselves. When they eat with hands. Why
Right.
nobody, does a show, reality show or whatever, documentary showing the positive side of the real autism. So
Right.
I'm like, you're right, and even I had a thought of maybe creating a sort of documentary
Yeah.
showing how it is. That's why I
Yeah.
started live streaming and doing all those things.
Which is
And
wonderful.
then I came across your show. It's only
Uh-huh.
two
Yeah.
episodes right now,
Yeah.
but oh my goodness, phenomenal.
Yeah. We're editing.
So,
We're editing the third one, and it's going to be about really occupational therapy. What we
right.
endure when there's occupational therapy in on the IEP. So.
Oh man. It's hilarious. I mean, even today, as I was preparing waffles for my sweethearts, yeah, I was like thinking about your episode with all the supplies of the shop, just because your kid likes specific kind of food.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
shall we
Yeah.
talk?
Episode 2. We endured that. They actually stopped making Lego
Really?
French toast sticks. And then it was on the news that the factory had shut down for flooding, and it was a
Oh my
2 year
goodness.
there was a 2 year backlog. So we really
Wow.
did have family and friends collect as much French toast stick original flavor that we could.
Right.
Very specific, like their diet's very specific, so you have to, accommodate that.
Mm-hmm. So, how did you come across how the whole idea about the show? How did you come up with the idea? What really pushed you, motivated you to create this show?
I actually had two or three really good friends at work. I my kids were diagnosed, you know, fif 14 years ago. And so, we had endured all these different things as they were diagnosed,
Mm-hmm.
going through, starting school and therapies and all that stuff. And all that time, I'm a full-time working mom. So I
Wow.
work for a Fortune 500 company. And maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, I had two ladies at work I used to lunch with. One's an actress, one's a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm.
But the day job is our secretary jobs. So we
Right.
were lunching, and they said, "Why don't you just write it all down?" And just a book or a blog or something. So I wrote it
Yeah.
all down in a screenplay form because that's kind of what I did in college. It's what I went to school for. So
Wow.
by the time I was done, I had 13 screenplays, like 13 different adventures, like when we shut down a theme park ride, when we shut down IKEA, when we and
Oh yeah.
like all the different things we've tried with our boys, but either we're blocked by their behaviors or just blocked because of our
Oh
own fears. So I
yes.
had 13 screenplays, and then again, lunching with those ladies again, we said, why don't we just shoot it? I mean, one's an actress. We just have to find a cinematographer and editor, and that's exactly what we did last year. So within a year, we've done three so far, three of the screenplays.
That's, I mean, they are so funny. The action just flows. And,
Yeah.
as I started watching, I was like, okay, it's interesting. And then I see I think the first scene was with a therapist discussing that
Yes.
actually, so you're saying my son is too autistic for you?
Yeah.
Because
We were actually the first opening scene of episode one is the psychiatrist asks us to leave because our children were making the people in the waiting room uncomfortable, and she was so I mean this is just
yes,
one of the things we've endured, and we did leave, but we did say, I don't understand how you're supposed to behave if you're here for, for medication.
of course.
So yeah, that's definitely one thing we endured, and that's definitely one doctor that still exists. And then there were definitely
Uh-huh.
side effects from from a medication that they were on, and
Yes.
we're trying to figure out ways to undo the side effect because the psychiatrist that gave us that medication said it could be permanent, the side effects, which was like this tick. It was like everything my nonverbal kid with probably pain and anxiety now has to deal with a tick. You know, so
Oh, yes.
so it was like that was episode one, and
Hmm.
how we dealt with it. And then
And I love it. It's
yeah,
about the CBD
yeah.
trend, you know. That's why that was partially the reason why we moved to
Oh
the States,
really?
because we were living in Cyprus for over a decade. That's
Uh-huh.
where our kids were born, and CBD is illegal in
Yeah.
Cyprus.
Yep.
Maybe now, I don't know if they changed, but it
Well,
was.
I'm in New York City. It's the same thing. You think
Mhm,
it's such a progressive city, but
I know.
we had to make our own hash, and that's episode one as well. So
And it's amazing. I mean, we tried several different CBDs, and I had to also explain to my family, my
uh,
friends, don't worry, it's not like smoking marijuana.
right,
It's
right,
completely different.
right.
But it's calming the nerves. It's been proven to be very effective with epilepsy,
Yeah,
treating epilepsy or even nervous tics. So
and
yes, we
autism.
were
And
on.
autism. There's groups and groups of people on Facebook and
Mhm,
other social media, parents that are in legal states seeing it work on
mm,
autistic children. And I
that's
just
true.
think the stigma around it is it's a pothead, it's a stoner,
Yeah. Yes.
it's illegal. You have to lift that because I really think it's a healing plant. I
Oh
think you're
yes. I
crazy
mean,
not to have that first before medication
right.
on on
Yes.
anybody.
Yes, and we medicated our son for several months because he was diagnosed also with ADHD.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
psychiatrists said, we can control ADHD, and then autism will not be so severe because,
right. And
once
there's
he's
layers. Yeah, there's
focused and centered and can focus on academics, then he will progress, blah, 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 blah.
right.
But the side effects were horrendous. I
Yeah.
mean, he would not sleep, he would not eat, he would stop growing, shadows under his eyes, and, psychiatrists was telling us, oh, it doesn't matter what he eats, even if he has like a tablespoon of Nutella or if he has a handful of fries, that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So
And we
did you
just
find
took
the
him off.
CBD? Did the CBD work for you guys in
It
terms of the
worked to some degree, yes. He
uh,
slept better. He slept
right,
better, but it didn't meet our expectations when it comes to ADHD.
right,
So
right, right,
he would still be more hyper. And the first few trials that we tried, he would actually get more aggressive and more hyper. But they
right.
said that's because his endocannabinoid system is trying to understand the
Right.
extra, stuff.
Uh-huh. No,
So
I mean there's thousands and thousands of strains. It's just a matter of,
finding the right one.
yeah, finding the right one and also,
Mhm.
medical professionals knowing about every single one. I mean, that's like,
Yes.
let's study that instead
Oh,
of,
yes. I know. I know.
it's
It's
so until then we're going to
it is
grow our
still a
own.
taboo,
Yeah, until then we
but
grow our own, we make our own. I mean,
again, I loved in your episode how because it's so, it's a taboo. It's
yeah,
hard to get. Where do you
yeah,
find it? Let's try for our son, for our daughter,
right,
whatever.
right.
And how you found this
Yeah,
dealer.
yeah. Everybody has a pothead like in their family. I mean, I know most people do. So we actually had a cousin that's a lifetime, lifetime subscriber to High Times magazine, and and he helped us out, and he's in episode one
Yes.
as Sudi, and
Yes.
Sudi helped, Sudi saved the day, for us. That we ended up looking up on the internet how to make hash, and we ended up administering it, and the child's twitching stopped instantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's something we did for several months when he was very, very young. And then once the twitching stopped, we subsided with it. We just slowly started taking it away, and the
Hmm.
twitching was gone. It's a miracle. It's
It
a
is.
miracle, and it's just a shot in the dark, but you have to do what you need to do for your
Yeah.
child. I mean, he didn't need one more thing, which was this
Mm.
permanent twitch.
Mm.
And so it's Uncle Sudi saved the day, and he's in, I think, every episode now.
That's awesome. No, I
Because, I mean,
love
he's an
all the
unconditional.
characters. I love it. And
Yeah.
the dentist visit and every single episode, like every scene that you shot, it was like, oh, let's see, going to the hairdresser. Oh, that's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting, you know?
Yeah, episode two, we always had problems with the hairdresser, and we always
Yeah.
had to go to different hairdressers because my kids, our autistic kids figure out where the exits are if you go somewhere more than once, so
Oh,
so I had to
yes.
so I had to go to different barbers all the time
Oh
and hold them,
my.
and hold them down. And this particular barber was actually a singing barber. And Tony Wolf is the actor that plays the singing barber, but the actual singing barber was Figaro, the singing
Really?
stylist. And he
Oh
had been a
wow.
stylist for like 30 years. We walked in and we just frazzled the poor guy. He just didn't know what to do. I guess he's never had a kid that didn't
Right.
sit. He said he couldn't cut the hair. Like exactly the way Tony, acts in the episode is
Yeah.
exactly. He was mad. He was angry. He was stressed out. And I just kept walking him through it. And then in actuality, two guys did come out from behind the curtain after he said something in Italian
The
to help him.
Godfather.
Yeah, the two thugs. Out of nowhere they came out. It was actually a curtain, like a big
Oh
shower
my
curtain.
goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we had it a little bit more elegant on the show. But they came out of a big shower curtain. They held Adam down,
Oh
during the
man.
haircut, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Uh,
Yeah.
it
And I
really
love
was
laying down on the
exactly.
floor, and starting with a razor, electric razor.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah.
exactly how it is, and it
And they're
takes.
sensitive to the razors. I mean, that's just
Yes.
how it is.
Yes.
Since then, I really didn't want to give in. I don't know if this is advice for parents with autistic kids, but my husband watched a lot of YouTube videos on cutting hair. So
Hmm.
we now cut their hair with a scissor in the shower.
I
But
do too.
I know, but I prefer that they endure it because when we're
Yes.
gone, someone else is going to be cutting their hair. So that is
Very
something in
good
the
point.
back of my mind. Like I
Mm.
definitely want to continue doing that. I don't think my husband should be standing half naked with them in the shower. Like they should know what a haircut is.
It's
So
true.
I have
Yeah.
to revisit that back. It's just one of those things as a mother it's top of mind.
And the same
And
with the dentist.
yes, the dentist is the actual dentist that we go to. Her Dr.
Wow.
Giamenta, she played herself. And again, it's the same thing. You hold them down. And you don't want to hold them down. You want to,
No.
all the different therapies say you have to build to, them eventually lying on their own. And in time and space that we're all in with work and everything, you just
Yeah.
throw them down and hold them down.
Right.
But they get bigger and they get stronger, so it is something that you have to teach them. But at the time, that's exactly what we used to do. And he did have to poop because he was nervous, and
Yeah.
and the bidet was something that they were used to. So episode
Oh,
two is exactly the way it planned out, and there were people at the door, which made the situation even worse.
of
So
course.
yeah, yeah,
There are always other kids and other patients. Ta, 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 ta. Yes.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
the pain. I know the pain.
yeah,
I mean, we didn't have B-Day, but yes, just always, it's a nervous poop. It's, when they go to the dentist or to the doctor,
yes.
every single time you can count on it.
Yeah, you can. You can, but at this, because my son was so used to a bidet, he
Hmm.
refused to get up until he used a bidet,
Wash.
and you're going to cause a scene in the bathroom. Like, does this father want to look like he's killing his kid, trying to rip him off the toilet, or do we
Right.
have an alternative? And we figured out an alternative at the time. Thank God he had a fixation on helmets.
Oh,
Otherwise,
yes.
we wouldn't be able
Oh,
to.
yeah.
So yeah, episode
Creativity,
yeah,
creativity.
yeah.
Your husband showed amazing, whew, imagination. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the guy that Oliver Lester plays, the dad, an
Uh-huh.
actor, and he's not even a dad, but I think he does a pretty good job.
Wow. Well
Being
done.
a dad,
Yes. Very believable character.
yes,
Yes.
I think so.
No, it's amazing because people don't realize. what we as parents are going through,
Yeah.
because they see only a tiny percent of
Yeah.
our real life. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm so glad that you made this show. And some things may be a little bit uncomfortable
Yeah.
for an average listener,
Yeah.
like, what is my son doing? Well, he's in his room, finding pleasure.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. You
I'm
know
like,
it.
wow.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's uncomfortable. As they're going through puberty and they're discovering themselves.
Oh,
With typical children, there's a filter. As mothers, you don't know what's going
yes.
on. I mean,
Mhm.
they're not going to tell you. You're not going to know what they're up to. But
Mhm.
it's very transparent when
Oh,
your child is is
and sometimes just
on the
stripping
spectrum.
because they have sensory, the texture of their clothes is uncomfortable, so they decide to just strip and run
Yeah, yeah,
naked through the house. Doesn't
yeah.
matter if you have guests, if you have
No,
friends over, doesn't matter.
no, no. It doesn't
I
matter.
just want to be comfortable, free
Yeah,
willy. Woo!
yeah. I just and how we address that is, I mean, one of my boys still sleeps naked, but he doesn't walk around naked like he used to. And I just
Mm,
think it's how you react to it and how often you put the clothes back on. You just have to keep doing it. I mean, you do give up and just say, "Oh, let him," like he's two and it's adorable, but it's not going to be adorable, later
yeah.
on the line. But I mean, it's just another thing you have to keep showing them that is inappropriate. I think they'll get it, but you just have to
Hmm.
have the patience of a saint, to just keep pushing it. But yeah, we had a kid naked all the time, just
Yes.
walking right past you. The UPS guys here just walking right past. Um, I know it's
Oh,
something that you're used to. It's not appropriate, and like I said, typical children don't act like this. But
yeah.
it's just one more thing in your box that you have to address. And it's a lot. It's a lot of things.
Yes.
It
It
is.
is.
It's, and I guess typical parents don't understand that, and you can't be judgy because
No.
there's a lot of goals that we have to get to that are very basic, and they don't take. I mean, normal parents take it for granted of normal children.
Right.
Keeping them dressed, keeping them well behaved in public. I mean, all this stuff is an additional challenge to just being a mom too.
Yeah.
Um, so it's hard, but I just think you can't be really sad or really upset about it every day. You're never going to be able to grow with your
It's
child
true.
that way.
And you made a good point that we cannot judge those neurotypical parents because they're not walking in our shoes. They don't have a clue really what it looks like unless we show them, we tell them.
Yeah,
But even then, it's not like 24/7. If they stayed with our kids for
yeah,
a week, they would get a good concept. Even for one day, they
yeah,
would
yeah,
understand pretty well. But just seeing little bits and pieces of
yeah,
our daily life,
yeah. Shots of it.
it's
Yeah,
difficult.
I
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I wanted to present it like this. Um, and I didn't care how many people watched it. I just wanted to do it,
Hmm.
and I just think it does explain why we were missing out of our families' lives for a while, or why we don't have as many friends as we used to. It's like this is what we were doing,
Yes.
and I don't think we have enough of it on television. Like
N-
I'm
Not at
sure,
all.
yeah, I'm sure autism is a small percentage in the wide
Yes.
picture of
And
parenting.
even if we do, it's always the high functioning autism
Oh
or
yeah.
the very mild autism,
Yeah, yeah, no,
which is
yeah,
that's why, like I said, you feel the niche, and it's
yeah,
like so needed for complete autism awareness because
yeah,
we can talk about Asperger's, we can talk about the high
yeah,
functioning autism. It's amazing, and I love people with Asperger's. I mean, I find them
I know.
so fascinating and
Yeah,
so
I've met a lot too. Yeah,
but our kids,
yeah,
they are on the other end. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not saying that their mental, intellectual, IQ, whatever, is lower. It's not that. It's just that some things, social skills, or even self care,
yeah,
is just pushed to the lower level. So,
yeah.
and that's the reality. That's why we cannot go to restaurants or concerts or whatever and just be like any other family. I don't know if your boys are running away.
They used to.
They used to.
There's an episode about that.
Okay.
One of my kids actually got out of the car and boarded a public bus to Coney Island. So that's in one of our episodes. Like I was
Woo!
thinking, yeah, 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 and I mean, literally in a blink of an eye, because he knows what
Yes.
Coney Island is spelled like, and he
Mm.
associate. We're in the five boroughs of New York City, so he knows
Mm-hmm.
what Coney Island the words are, and he knows what's
Mm.
associated with his roller coasters. So apparently, he just got on the bus, and so that's something that we endured. So yes, there is running away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh huh.
That's why we cannot go just a regular park.
No.
Enjoy, get a little recliner chair,
Yeah.
or sit on the bench, read a book while kids are playing
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere near.
Vacations.
It
Oh, yeah.
doesn't happen.
It's work. Yeah, it's work. Yeah, I watched all that stuff. I mean, my kid's never going to be a cardiac surgeon or whatever that character is
Yeah, Sean Murphy,
in the Good
the good
Doctor. Yeah,
doctor.
yeah. I mean, like my kids are never going to be doctors, and
Hmm.
I don't think my kid's going to ask a girl to the prom, like an atypical and all that stuff. It's like it's definitely lower, and the story is really the parents. The main. What I'm saying is like the children in our series are the main. I mean, they're the catalyst. They
Sure,
move the parents, but I think the foundation is, um,
it's the family dynamics.
yeah, it's the
You're showing it
foundation.
perfectly.
Yeah,
How
it's
it affects everybody,
yeah,
and really that it takes a village to raise a
oh,
child.
absolutely. It takes the mother-in-law and the father-in-law and the parents and the uncles and aunts. Like you've
And
got
it
to.
seems like you have amazing, supportive family in private life.
Yeah, we do. We do. It does take a village. I couldn't work full time if I didn't have my sister-in-law living with us.
Yeah,
I couldn't work full time at all. It's just impossible.
I know.
So I'm very grateful and blessed for that. Uh, and in terms of other people, I get a lot of email from people
Hmm.
saying like I'm really isolated. I don't have anyone, and it's my heart breaks because you really do need at least one more person to complain about your day to. You definitely need someone there that's going to listen. And my heart goes out to anyone that says that they're alone. If they are, they should reach out to any one of the parents that are on social media. Me, it's like you're not alone.
Hmm.
And I'm sure we'll find someone for you to call and complain about, or
Oh,
for
absolutely.
advice or whatever.
And you need that person to really, get all your out,
Yeah, yeah,
because other people who don't walk in your shoes, who don't know really what you're going through, will not understand. So even if you share, they will be like, okay, yes, but really, you need someone who knows exactly what you're going through and will not judge you for that. And I have amazing friend Christy,
yeah,
who is also, by the way, a movie producer,
mm,
fantastic lady, and she's a special needs mom herself.
yeah, yeah.
Her daughter has a trach and
Oh, okay.
some other things, but so we share a lot of similar struggles, and
Yeah,
not being able to just spontaneously let's pack our bags and
yeah.
go somewhere, or
You could,
jump in the
you
pool.
could, you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other advice I have is you really can't be friends. I mean, I'm sure you can with typical kids parents. It really is special when you find people that relate to your story. So
Mm,
it's really nice to be friends with parents that have. I mean, you might not have as much time together,
yeah.
but with parents of other special needs children, so that you can so that there's more to talk about. Like, that's been probably the best part of this journey, is meeting other special needs families and saying, wow, that's exactly what I do. And that's exactly how we endure it. Or that's exactly how my kid is.
Yeah.
There's no union. There's no union if you just constantly, befriend people with typical kids. It's hard. There's no relatability.
Very, very hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you
I mean,
definitely should
especially,
find a
I mean,
network.
not so much parents, because we can get along with anyone,
Yeah.
we find a way. But for the kids, it's good to have, even if, like my son would meet your sons, I'm sure they would be just walking around each other, observing each other, even maybe being silly together. But they would feel, I think, more confident and more calm
Yeah.
seeing someone similar playing near them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
That's the one thing. That's the other thing that I've been kind of unlucky with throughout
mhm,
our journey. I really haven't found, and I think it's lovely that people have really good friends with typical children, where the parents raise those typical children to say, "I want you to specifically play with him and in other words, my two kids.
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to find like a friend or something that says to their typical child, I want you to embrace these kids and look
Yeah.
them in the eye and make them play. I've gotten a lot of, well, my kid's scared of your kid, or my kid's, doesn't understand your kid, or they're afraid that it might rub off on their kid. Like, I don't know what the stigma is, but
Yes, I know.
you know what I'm saying? But I've never, what would be nice would be to have more neurotypical kids and their parents embrace it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it would be a
Inclusion.
benefit to our kids to
Mm.
see how a typical kid plays, eye contact. So the inclusive stuff that they talk about a lot, I think, is really important.
It
Inclusive
is.
play, inclusive social groups. It's really important because we never really had that growing up. It was just like I didn't have this unconditional friend that said, play with Guzin's kids because maybe they can get something out of it. It was never like that. So
Mm-hmm.
the more inclusive stuff that comes out, the more proud I am of people that are doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah, and we need that. Like you said, people are scared of the unknown,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
because they're not really familiar with autism,
right.
they
And
don't know
they're
what to
afraid of their
expect.
own kids' development. They think they might pick it up, or I don't, I really don't know why. Like,
I mean, it can be scary when you
yeah,
see, a young
yeah,
teenager with changing
rocking,
voice and
yeah,
making silly noises.
yeah. I
Oh,
know,
it's like,
yeah,
what do I
yeah.
do?
But
So,
there's some stuff on Staten Island where there's like inclusive play where I live,
uh-huh.
and it's something I have to start doing too. I haven't done it yet, but I'm just so amazed that there is stuff like that now.
Yeah,
I think it's important for our kids, and also for typical kids to understand that there's a whole population of kids like this that you have to be
and it's
understanding about.
growing.
Yeah. Oh
Mm,
yeah. The numbers are staggering.
really,
Yeah.
really, really high now. Yes. Well, so can you tell me and my audience, how do you cope as a married couple? Because you also mentioned in, I think, first episode, like, yeah, it would be nice, and yeah, we used to be intimate more, but people are wondering, like, so you have a special need child
Right.
and or children,
Right.
and how do you keep going? How does it affect your marriage and
Yeah.
romance and everything?
Yeah, I think what has grown since our diagnosis, you know, that many years ago, they're 16, so
Hmm.
14 years ago, when our kids were diagnosed, I think my husband and I at that point decided that we're not entitled to anything. There's zero expectations from each other. We just have to raise these two kids. You have to make it very understandable that it's about
Mm.
the children. I mean, you can say it's about I mean, I'm not saying that your relationship goes out the window, but I'm just saying that there's a maturity level, I think, that
Hmm.
you have to meet where you can't be bitter that, the
Things
children
don't
have to
happen.
take, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, like you have to. And we never even talked about it. I'm just assessing it myself.
Hmm.
It's just that we really believe that the kids come first.
Priorities change,
Yeah,
right?
they do. But I think a lot of the times, um, one person in the couple says, I'm entitled to a typical kid. This isn't what I signed up for, or I mean, and there's other things that go on in your head where I think the marriages fail, or they really can't handle the child being a certain way. I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert on that, but I do know that my husband and I just put them first,
Yeah.
and you just have to put everything else aside.
If you're working as a team, then it
Yeah,
will work. But like you said, there are many couples that just split because there are other expectations, and then there is guilt trip, and there is
yeah,
piling on,
yeah. It's
and
layers.
eventually they break.
Yeah, it's layers, and we've stuck together. I don't know what our future holds, but I'm sure we'll be together.
It seems like
I'm sure
you're a
he
pretty
likes me.
solid team.
Yeah, I'm sure he
So,
likes me. But actually, episode three is it's funny that you brought that up. Episode three starts with the child interrupting sex, which is I think typical for anybody, right?
uh
But it's one of those things where where it just happens.
reality.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yes,
Yeah, so I mean, I wanted to show that there's still intimacy, but there's like this crazy, there's just layers and layers of obligation, but we
right.
definitely hit that. our mom and dad, actress, did a really good job in the first scene. It opens that way. So
Awesome.
episode 3. But
I
yeah, I mean
really, I
that's
am
the
enjoying the
marriage.
show.
Yeah.
And so, how did you get it to Amazon Prime? Because I found it on Amazon Prime before I found it on YouTube.
Oh, right. So a lot of filmmakers can actually put their work on Amazon Prime. You just have to,
Oh.
yeah, you have to be within the parameters they need,
Mhm.
technically, I think, and then it has to be closed captions, and then you could put it up. So I thought YouTube wasn't a big enough platform. Maybe I'll try Amazon, but I said, like, who's gonna watch it? But
Mm.
apparently, I mean, it's just this tiny little series.
Mm-hmm.
And but Amazon's algorithm is pretty amazing. So once I put it up, it's like I guess they started pulling data on who was watching Surprisingly
Mm-hmm.
Complicated, or using whatever the algorithm is. So if you were watching family shows, you were watching our show.
Yes.
So when you brought up your Amazon account and you had watched Atypical or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, then they would recommend our show, and that's how I
Yes.
can't believe we've got, like, a
Yes.
bunch of people watching it on Amazon Prime. I would love someone like Amazon Prime or Netflix to pay for the production, but let's.
That was my next question. So, how do you find, money to produce the show?
Yeah,
Because I
that's
imagine you're hiring actors.
yeah,
You are, and even the boys that are playing your
yeah,
sons, they are also with autism, right?
yeah. They both boys that play our sons have
Amazing.
autism. One I met through work. She's his fellow secretary with a child with autism. That's Sebastian, and Kedem is actually a first cousin of ours. He
Wow.
plays the other son. And then yeah, I'm paying actors, cinematographer, editor. It's all out of pocket. We tried GoFundMe. We tried Kickstarter, and I gotta say, I'm sure people are successful, but you
Hmm.
can't keep asking friends and family
Mm,
for
right.
money.
Yes.
For money, it gets old.
You need
Uh,
to find a good investor
right, and
who
that's
will
why.
see the potential in the show
Yeah,
and just,
yeah, that would be nice. And
oh
then,
my goodness.
and that's why I question my marriage, because I don't know, by episode 6, I don't know, my husband might be like, you know what, honey, we're done. So, but my husband's been great about it. He does love that he's seeing some of the stuff relived. But yeah, I mean, it does cost a pretty penny. But I'm
Mm.
gonna just put it out there as long as I can do it. I'm just gonna keep telling our story.
Well,
Um,
this is your investment. I believe it's gonna come back because maybe you can monetize from YouTube once it gets the
yeah,
number up, and Amazon Prime as well. It helps a lot because
yeah,
visibility. So people will be going and searching your name and
yeah,
the name of the show. I
yeah.
really, really hope that someone with big money who sees the potential and the missing,
Piece
niche
of
of
autism.
autism
Yeah, yeah,
shows
yeah.
will go and invest. I really hope
That's.
so.
Oh, I thank you so much for hoping. Thank you so much.
If I was a millionaire, I would just sponsor the whole show.
Me
It's
too. Me
it's amazing, but
too.
I'm an autism parent myself,
Yeah,
staying home mom
yeah.
right now. So
I don't know. I just think I'm really lucky and really blessed to be able to do this. I mean, it's a bunch of actors that are just lovely, lovely people that believe in the story too. I mean, if
mhm,
you don't believe in the story, you're not going to give what you see on film. They're an
yeah.
incredible bunch of people, all of them, and the crew too. We have a really lovely cinematographer. He's fantastic, and I just think if they didn't have heart, I don't think the project would look like it has heart. It
Mm.
absolutely does.
I mean, it's great. It's produced well. It's edited very well. It needs to go up there. It
We'll
does.
try.
It
We're gonna
does.
try. We're gonna
And
try.
like I said, I already shared with a bunch of people who I
Thank
know
you.
have children like our boys
Uh
and
huh.
who will appreciate it because it's not yet another sad, scary documentary showing,
No.
oh woe me,
Yeah. No.
my life is
I
a misery
remember
because I have a
watching.
child with autism. It's funny, it's very witty, and I love it.
Yeah, episode 3. I hope you enjoy. Like I said, the parents get interrupted. There's occupational therapists. That revolving door in the house of therapists in and out when it's
Hmm.
the early years. Um, the children's parents are introduced to the easy vibe. I don't know if you remember though, but like where the therapist recommends where to massage the child
Oh yes.
with
Uh-huh.
a personal massager. Like the
Mhm.
whole thing's kind of tongue in cheek. It's gonna be a good episode, I think.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Yeah,
It's gonna
I
be
think
fun.
probably in the next
So,
week.
can we tell our viewers where they can find you? And let me pull the name of the show
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Uh, oh, I need to write it down
I
again.
am in. You mean where to find me? Like my address?
No, better not. Just the show, the name of the show, and on Amazon.
Yeah, surprisingly complicated. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on YouTube. It is on Vimeo. We're on Surprisingly Complicated is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we have our own website, www.surprisinglycomplicated.com.
Awesome.
So we
I
spread it
will
out.
put the link also below this video so
Thank
anyone
you.
who will watch this can go directly to the link
Yeah,
and go to your website and then go to all your social media. But it's amazing that on YouTube it's free to watch. You don't have
right,
to pay to watch. So
right.
episodes are short, sweet,
15.
funny. They're like 15, 20 minutes long only. You just have to go and watch for yourself. If you're a parent, you will appreciate the honesty and the reality
Yeah,
of the low
good.
functioning autism and the family dynamics. And if you are someone who has a friend
Yes,
as
please
a
share.
child with autism or who doesn't know anything what low functioning autism really looks like and feels like and smells like and sticks like,
Yeah, yeah,
go and watch this show. It's amazing, it's funny, you will not regret it.
yeah.
So, Guzin, thank you so much for coming to my show. Thank you for sharing your experience
Thank you
and
for having me.
what
Please keep in
inspired
touch.
you.
I love Mama Bear. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much.
Please keep in touch.
And I hope we can catch up again
Yeah,
after the next few episodes.
yes, yes,
And
absolutely.
if you are a rich investor, you don't have to be a movie producer. I'm
No.
speaking to you. If you have money, if you want to fill the niche, because maybe in a few years there will be several different investors and they'll be making money off this show already. Don't miss the opportunity. Invest in the show. Go
Yes.
get it.
Pay for an actor's bottled water.
Yes,
We are on
right.
GoFundMe. We are on
Yes.
GoFundMe. We are. It's we still have the account up on GoFundMe, so feel free.
There you go. So if you want to help the show, if you really enjoyed the show and you would like to help, even the small amount will help to
Yeah,
bring another episode
yeah,
on. So
yeah,
we really appreciate your
yeah.
support. And Guzin, thank you so much
Thank
again
you for
for
having
being
me.
so transparent and thank you for being so honest and so funny because all your scripts are hilarious.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we should. I hope to. Like I said, the next one we shut down IKEA, and I can't wait to do that one. We'll see.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah, oh yeah, yes.
It's gonna be fun.
It's the
It's
same
gonna be
story.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks.
Fantastic. So I wish you a fantastic day.
You
Keep
too.
rocking,
You
keep
too.
producing because
You
we need to
too.
see more episodes and bring it to the world.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.